Hello everyone, Taylorson here and welcome back to our Tour de France playthroughs. We're into the second week now, but just as a recap, here's how the general classification looks after stage 9. Tadej Pogacar leads by 2 seconds ahead of Juan Ayuso in second. Remco Van Der Poel currently on the podium ahead of Jonas Vingegaard by nearly a minute, but that should change towards the end of this second week. Paul Seixas rounds out the top 5 with only Richard Carapaz, the other guy, within 3 minutes of the lead of the race. But another stage is upon us, and it's a medium mountain test for the peloton. A difficult stage that is very hilly towards the end. It could reward a breakaway, but it could also mean some GC gaps.
Hello everyone. Let's hope the riders make the most of their rest day, because today's stage certainly won't be a stroll in the park. The second half of the stage consists of a series of climbs very close to one another, and it won't be a surprise if it becomes a battle between those vying for the yellow jersey.
It's been a positive first week for Lidl-Trek. We've managed to get all 4 jerseys for a brief time in this tour. We still have the green, the polka dots and the white though, and we're looking to keep those in the second week. So we've got Mattias Skjelmose in the breakaway, but calling it a breakaway is a little bit rich for the moment because it's only a minute 30 with 100 kilometres of racing nearly done. It's not been allowed away at all, but we're hunting King of the Mountains points, and it's been very active up front. The likes of Marco Haller and Benjamin Thomas were in there, but now it's more about the climbers and the hilly classic riders, such as Tobias Harland-Johannesson, Kevin Vauquelin, Mauro Schmid and Romain Gregoire, who is challenging us for this King of the Mountains sprint, but Mattias Skjelmose takes some points for his King of the Mountains classification. We should be fine anyway, even if we don't win any of these climbs, but we're just building up the points before the real mountains kick off. Approaching the intermediate sprint, and here is your breakaway in full. Damiano Caruso, Valentin Paré-Pantra, Kian Uijtdebroeks, Kevin Vauquelin, Tobias Harland-Johannesson, Romain Gregoire and Mauro Schmid, and it is only a minute of gap between us and the peloton. It's been kept so tight by the teams that have missed it, but also by UAE Team Emirates, who look like they're hunting for a stage win with Tadej Pogacar. We do win the intermediate sprint though with Mattias Skjelmose, surprisingly, because I didn't think he was going to beat the likes of Gregoire, but now we switch to Pedersen and go for the sprint with Pedersen, and seemingly nobody's interested. Caja Rural was still at the front with about 800 metres to go there, so we've gone over the line with Pedersen to take some easy points and increase his lead in the green jersey. On to the second climb of the day then, 3 kilometres remain of it, and the gap still hasn't reached 2 minutes yet. It has been on fire all day. The likes of Caja Rural keeping this one close because they didn't get a guy in the breakaway. Jordan Gilliatt tried to get in the breakaway for Total Energies, but he has ended up in a chasse patate. Second group on the road, just alone, going up this climb. You hate to see it for the Total man, but we've got other priorities, and that is to get Mattias Skjelmose further in control of this mountains classification, because I'm not scared of any other rider that can go in a breakaway. I'm scared of the GC favourites, the likes of Tadej Pogacar, the likes of Jonas Vingegaard, who on those HC climbs that give out 20 points could take the jersey. We're into the final kilometre of this climb then with Skjelmose, and we'll see if anybody else wants it. They are going for the sprint by the looks of things, so I am going to make sure I get over this line. We've got plenty of red stamina to use, but we might just run out just before the line. It's us against Johannesson, and the Danish win in that occasion, beating the Norwegians to 2 extra points over that King of the Mountain sprint. But we are getting challenged, and it looks like this breakaway has been whittled away to only the best riders at the front. You might have noticed during the ascent of our last climb that the gap has begun to balloon, so I wonder whether Caja Rural have finally given up chasing this one down and have just decided to concede that they won't be getting anybody in the breakaway, because the gap is now over 3.5 minutes. So UAE perhaps not interested in having the stage win with Tadej Pogacar, and that means there's an opportunity for one of these 5 riders up the road to try and take a win. But we're more focused on King of the Mountains for now. We can think of the stage win later if it gets to that point, but we just want to take King of the Mountains points, and there's some more. We have not lost a King of the Mountains sprint yet on this stage, and I hope, with plenty left, that we aren't going to do so for the remainder of this stage. But no big names dropped yet. 3 minutes and 50 the gap. Yeah, this really looks like an opportunity for the breakaway for the first proper time in this Tour de France playthrough, because the gap's over 5 minutes now. It's still 5 riders at the front. Uiterbrooks, Paris-Pantra, Vauquelin, Johannesson and us. Uiterbrooks looks like the worst of these guys and will likely drop first amongst this group, but the rest of them, I'm not really too sure on where their level is. We're going to try and cross the line and hold off Johannesson again. He is giving us a very hard time at these King of the Mountain sprints, but at the moment, we are getting through. And there's what I mean about Uiterbrooks. He looks like he's really struggling to hold on. So I don't need to worry about him for the King of the Mountain sprints and for the stage win. It's more about the other 4 as the gap goes towards 5.5 minutes. Mauro Schmid and Romain Gregoire have long been left behind. Damiano Caruso has been swallowed up by the peloton, and now Kian Uiterbrooks has been dropped seemingly for good, and Kevin Vauquelin has also given way, which means we're down to 3 riders at the front of the race. 1 kilometre until the top of the next climb of the day, and it is Skjelmose, Johannesson and Paris-Pantra that remain at the front of the race. 3 minutes and 30 is the gap with 30 kilometres remaining, and all of a sudden it looks like it might not be a breakaway victory. We'll have to see how it goes, but we've upped the pace at the front of the race and are going to go over the top of the climb and win another King of the Mountains point. But instead of waiting up for the other 2, I am going to continue to press on, because I can see that a stage win is looking perhaps likely for Mattias Skjelmose and a chance to get our 3rd stage winner for the Lidl-Trek team. We've already had Ayuso win a stage and Mads Pedersen win at the Tour de France. Now we want Mattias Skjelmose to take a victory. 15 kilometres to go, and I am starting to believe that we can win this stage. I am seriously confident, and I'm going to press on over the top of this climb. And I think the stage might just be won with Mattias Skjelmose. The peloton would need to close 4 minutes of a gap in 7.5 kilometres, and I don't think that's happening. I'm now not controlling him, and he's got over a minute on the second group. For the first time in this Tour de France, Tadej Pogacar winds up an attack, and it's only the white jersey of Juan Ayuso that can follow for the moment. He attacks across to the yellow jersey, and that camera angle's slightly deceiving because a gap is opening up between the rear wheel of Juan Ayuso and the front of the peloton that they have to close immediately, because if you give Tadej Pogacar any sort of gap, he will try his best to take a mile. So round the corners he goes, trying to press on. Only Juan Ayuso can follow at the moment, but he is putting Juan Ayuso gradually into the red. Meanwhile, up front, Mattias Skjelmose in a King of the Mountains jersey takes the win for Lidl-Trek. Can they double up though, with Juan Ayuso taking some time on Tadej Pogacar? He's going to give it a go by attacking over the top of the last climb, but it looks like the gap is not there unless he can really push it on the descent and try and distance the yellow jersey. Round the hairpin bend he comes and down towards the bottom of the descent. It is a gradual uphill rise for around a kilometre to get to the finish line, and they're onto it now. Juan Ayuso on the front of the peloton, but here comes Tadej Pogacar using the draft, slingshotting around. There's Tobias Harlan, Johannesson and Valentin Paris-Pantra with him, but Pogacar's going to take second place and the bonus seconds. Ayuso finishes in the group ahead of the likes of Paul Seixas and Jonas Vingegaard, who lose time today. I said one of the plans was to take as many stage wins with as many riders from the team as I possibly could, and it looks like this second and third week might give us the opportunity to do that. A breakaway stage win and a breakaway stage win for Lidl-Trek. Mattias Skjelmose wins the stage ahead of Tadej Pogacar in second, who was just on fire. We could not keep up with him despite our best efforts. We finished 5th behind Valentin Perry-Pentra in 3rd and Tobias Hall and Johannesson in 4th. Del Toro and Seixas take a little bit of time on Jonas Vingegaard, who takes a little bit of time on Richard Carapaz, but Seixas and Vingegaard locked in battle at the moment, but we retain our hold onto 2nd place in the GC. Remco Evenepoel, the big loser, slightly losing time to Jonas Vingegaard, losing a little more to Seixas and losing a fair bit to Ayuso and Tadej Pogacar, which means in the GC, Pogacar leads the way now by 12 seconds on Juan Ayuso, with Remco Evenepoel a minute 13 down in 3rd. Jonas Vingegaard at just over 2 minutes, with Paul Seixas rounding out the top 5, 2.5 minutes down. And that's where we will end today's video. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new, and stay safe. Enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.